Hello everyone. As a part of accounting principles, today I am going to discuss business entity concept. And this is very important from accounting point of view and guide the managers and the accountants that how to record the business transaction, the financial transactions in the books of accounts. See, what is the term business entity concept? It means what is the entity of the business? Remember students one thing, entity of the business is independent. I tell you, entity of the business is independent. Independent entity means what? Before that, you need to understand a business is started by the businessman. So, what does it mean? Businessman can do anything as per the legal terms. According to the laws, businessman is likely to make a decision for the progress and for the financial health of the business. But the business has independent entity which is different from its owners. It means entity of owner is different and entity of the business is different completely. That cannot be mixed up. What does it mean? It simply means that books of accounts of the business are maintained separately and any personal transaction of the businessman is not mixed up with the transactions of the business. I write it here. Please understand. On the one hand, there are business transactions, business transactions. On the one hand, there are some personal transactions of the businessman. Personal transactions of the businessman. I mean to say, business transactions are maintained separately in the books of accounts of the business, and personal transaction, if any, of the businessman, these can never be mixed up with the business transactions. It means personal transaction, personal property, personal income, personal investments, personal vehicles, fixed assets of the businessman should never be mixed up with the business. Why so? Just to calculate accurate and fair profits of the business. Because if these are mixed up, you can never come to know the proper and accurate profitability and financial position of the business. This is the reason. It means what is the position of the businessman in the business? We need to understand if business is an independent entity, then what is the role of businessman into the business? Remember one thing, business being an independent entry, you can understand firstly borrows money from the businessman. See, business arranges or say borrows money from the businessman, say owners, and that borrowing is not external borrowing, dear friends, that is internal borrowing, and that borrowing is termed as capital. Businessman is considered as creditor of the business, and this is the reason that interest is allowed on capital. That is the reason that interest is allowed to the businessman on his capital. And if businessman draw something from the business, draw something from the business for his domestic and personal purposes like cash, draw money from the bank for his personal purposes, or use any asset for personal purposes, that is considered as drawings, that is considered as drawings, and interest is charged on this drawing also, and at the end of the year this drawing and interest thereon is deducted from the capital of the businessman. Now I think you can understand that business is an independent entry, an entity which is completely different from its owners. Their transactions can never be mixed up, and businessman is treated just like creditors of the business. He is internal creditor of the business, you can say, and this is done in order to calculate the profits of the business accurately. At the same time, you need to understand that if the same businessman is running another businesses also, transactions of those businesses can also not be mixed up with this business, because every business has separate legal entity. At the end, I would like to tell you that in the absence, it means if this business entity concept is not followed, then we can never come to know the accurate profitability and financial position of the business. For that, it is must. And remember one thing, this business entity concept is applicable for all types of businesses, that is sole proprietorship, partnership, cooperative societies, companies or other corporate houses or NGOs, etc. This is applicable to all types of organization. This is the significance of business entity concept. I think this business entity concept is completely clear to you. Stay connected, improve your knowledge, share the video with your friends and classmates, and subscribe the channel if not yet subscribed. And one more thing, if you want to understand the same video in Hindi, then visit my another channel, that is Commerce with Difference.